Hello everyone, welcome back to Rolling Solo. My name is Adam Smith. I'm excited today to be unboxing Call to Adventure, Craft Your Hero, Claim Your Destiny, designed by Chris and Johnny O'Neill. This one is published by Brotherwise Games. Now this is a solo playable game out of the box. You just pick up the base box here and you're good to go. You can play this one in a solo capacity without any extra variants, which is fantastic. I'm really interested in finding out the actual gameplay mechanism inside of this one. I've heard it's very unique and different. I'm going to be flipping the game box over to the backside so we can actually read a little bit more about it. Then without further ado, we're going to dive into the game box itself. Call to Adventure is a tabletop game in which players compete to craft the hero with the greatest destiny. You're going to be playing cards to build your character, casting runes to face challenges, and choose whether to follow a path of heroism or villainy. Play competitively, solo, or co-op. This set includes everything you need to play. And I'm not going to read out all the components inside the game because we are going to be seeing them up close and personal in a second, but I will go through these three major points here for Call to Adventure. The first one is craft your hero. At the very top here, your hero's story begins with your origin, motivation, and destiny cards. So over the course of the game, you will add cards to your story as you acquire traits, gain allies, and overcome challenges. The next thing says choose your path. To upgrade your hero and earn destiny points, you must face challenges, and every challenge has two possible paths. Choose your path, then cast the runes to see if you succeed. And this is a really interesting mechanic with this game that I'm not familiar with in anything else that I've played in the past, so I'm really interested to see how that actually plays out. You can then also add dark runes to your attempt, but beware of corruption. So kind of maybe like a wild or a chance to have a better chance at success, I guess, essentially. Claim your destiny. Play hero and anti-hero cards to improve your odds or hinder opponents. Face evil adversaries. In the end, the hero with the highest destiny score is the winner, but every player has the chance to create a character and tell an epic story. So when you first open the box to Call to Adventure, you're going to see, of course, an advertisement for Brotherwise Games. So this will actually help you become familiar with the games they've made in the past. They've done a game called Unearth, Boss Monster. A number of these I'm actually familiar with, and then if you flip them over to the back, you've got some more of the things that they've gone ahead and created or are creating. So we'll move that out of the way and head right into the game rules here. It says right on the game rules itself, solo play is a part of it from the get-go. Another major reason why I'm featuring it here on the channel. We got 30 to 60 minutes for play and 13 and up. So let's take a look at like how much this actually takes to consume in terms of a rulebook. It's not the full size of the box, it's a little smaller. The back of the rulebook, to start it off here, has a nice quick start guide. This actually includes the object of the game, the setup, the casting of the runes on your turn, like what's happening phase-wise, the ending of an act, and the ending of a game. So they've crunched all of that down into one page, which is impressive and shows that the learning curve on this may be quick enough to really get this thing to the table fast and start enjoying it, which I really like because it doesn't seem like it's going to be a massive rulebook to overcome. So going inside of that rulebook, of which has really nice artwork on the very front, we're going to go to the very back page. You can see, of course, I got some acknowledgments here. 13 pages total, but of course we have an FAQ on the back here, which is handy to have, but you wouldn't technically be reading that during your first rip through of the rule book in total. So really, it's 11 pages, as noted down here at the bottom right. So what's cool about that is you can probably rip through this rule book fairly quickly, and it looks like the print size on the pages is actually quite large as well. So, and there's some full-size images too. So I don't think this is going to take too long to consume. It might actually be, if it was just all text, 7 pages-ish. From what I can see here, there's some white space going on, but it's not that big of a rule book. So that's really good, because you might even be able to actually come to a particular session or game with no knowledge of this one whatsoever and be able to really get an understanding of it quickly, which is a rare thing these days and nice to have. So this is a good idea as to how the book actually lays itself out. So the first page, I will show you this, is a nice illustration here on the front. It's got some terminology about the background of the game. This again mentions it's the first printing of the game. There is some glare there, so I do apologize about that. But again, nice glossy rulebooks typically have that, and light is kind of a danger to that. Contents here, we got them all listed out. Character cards, story cards, hero and anti-hero cards, player boards, 24 runes, and 40 experience tokens. So as long as you have that in the box, you've got everything. I'm not going to go through every page of this thing. I've already flipped through quickly, but I do want to give you a good idea as to how it's laid out. And this is really the setup of the game here. It seems to go across a few steps, starting with step number 1 over here of dealing the cards out, revealing your character, then moving along to prepare the story decks themselves, and then you're moving into your turn. So really your setup is 2 pages long. So you're really able to, I think, dive in this thing pretty quickly. So we're gonna have a number of player boards to go through here. So again, iconography wise, I won't be able to tell you specifics, but they are quite thick, to be honest. They are very thick indeed. And at the very bottom there, it even shows you exactly what all of the different runes mean, which is awesome. So you got ones here like slash of any color is a success. Any results showing one of the runes below is 2 successes. White triangles are draw a hero card. Diamonds gain an experience token. Dark triangle, draw an anti-hero card. Slash dark rune, 1 success, no penalty. Moon dark rune, 2 successes, move down 1 step on the corruption track, and then dual triangle, draw a hero or anti-hero card. So I'm really curious to see how all the interaction with these runes in the game is going to take place, and it looks like they've done a good job with the layout of these boards as well. I'm guessing things will progress as to what you're doing with your adventure on this board, as it is your player board. I'm not too sure what this relates back to. It looks like it could be day and night cycles. It could also be a potential mood or character morale track of some type. We'll have to see more about that later on. Flip it over and it's just blank on the other side, so no artwork on that side. But there's enough boards here for everyone to have one, of course. So we'll move past all of those, and there we go. Now we're getting into the meat inside of this box. So this is actually really cool. Looks like the components are actually quite nice. And these rune tokens look really good too. So here's a look at the runes up close, actually. I want to show you guys that not all of them have 2 sides with iconography on both. Some of them are blank on one side, so obviously maybe there's a chance that you can flip these things and get a side that you really don't want, but they're really nice. They're very, very high quality. They have a nice shimmer to them as well. When the light catches them, you can see they're glossy, which is really nice, but every one of these seems and appears to be different, and I'm gonna have to get used to, you know, odds and stuff like this. There's a risk reward system going on here with these runes, but I really like the quality of these things. They're really nice. They're actually small enough, and they're heavy. They have weight to them, but they're not like a die. They're not they don't have tons and tons of weight, but they're just heavy enough to be delicate and very nice in the hand. They feel really good, and they're weighted nicely that way. It's hard to explain that, really, but at the end of the day, I really like them. I was really surprised by how nice they actually are. Now this could be that tracker I was talking about in terms of day night. It could, I have no idea, but it looks like it. These ones appear to be plastic, so that's nice as well, and they have a good feel to them, and they're actually they're not engraved, they're actually raised off the plastic as well. So that might be hard to see, but they are good quality. So I'm really impressed with the components overall in this one. You got these runes over here that appear to be darker in shade, and I'm guessing, based on what we read earlier, this is going to be the negative effect runes that if you use them, they give you a greater chance of success. But the caveat to that is essentially you're going to be taking some type of negative disadvantage towards your character, towards your quest, or something else, maybe towards your morale, who knows. But there's got to be, a trade-off there. And then you got more runes, so I'm going to have to become a lot more familiar with all the different icons in this one, but I do like what I'm seeing here. And see, like, some of these actually do have 2 sides to them as well, whereas some of the other ones up here didn't. And then you got these ones here that are really colorful for 4 different symbols, and you can see, like, the shimmer there is really nice. They've got diamonds kind of on all different corners, and again, I don't know if that's just an artistic thing or that's meant to represent something, but they all seem to have it, and they're different on opposite sides too, so that's pretty cool. And if we move past this, oh, there we go. Now we got some cards. So on the bottom of the box here, we have some large stacks of cards, 1, 2, and 3. We'll become more familiar with what those actually are, but I believe the artwork on those is going to be really, really nice if the box cover is anything to go by. We'll go after this one right away because this isn't actually in any packaging, whereas everything else is. This is a score sheet, so you can see here maybe per player playing is going to be represented by one of these icons. You got story icons going on, scoring your story icons, and a whole bunch of other things that I'm unfamiliar with, but you got a whole bunch of those. You're looking at a pad of probably what looks to be at least 30-40 pages worth of pads there, so that's pretty good. All right, I've got to admit, the components of this game are really impressing me. It's a small box game, like it's not a huge box, but the component quality is really good. Like I don't know what these represent. It could be damage, it likely is damage, but like I just love that it's just not standard cardboard tokens. I don't know what these stand for, but they're just extremely cool, and there's a whole bunch of them, a ton of them. They're just gonna go all in here, and they look great. Along with those runes, they also look fantastic. So here's a look at the standard size cards that come inside the game. Again, I'll just give you a quick idea of what the backs look like on these cards, because they seem to be mixed up quite a bit, and I'll be learning more about them. Some look like they're straight up bad, other ones look a little bit more positive, and some of them look more neutral. So I'm not too sure the different uses of these cards just yet, but I wanted to show you the backs of these. And then it looks like we got some cards here that actually, oh, they speak to the different number of players, and there we go. So the adversary is basically using these. And maybe these are success markers, so instead of it being damage, it has something to do with the story successes. I have no idea, or progress tokens of some type. That could make a lot more sense. So let's get into the actual cards here, and this is something I really thought was cool on the game box, and when I saw some of the pictures from these guys, this artwork looks really good too. So you got really nice, easy to read text on the bottom. Iconography is really good, and the artwork also flows nicely across all the cards. We may not see every single card hanging around for a while, but I do want to show you the general feel of the cards themselves, so you can get an idea as to what you're getting into with this one. And you'll see there's some duplication here, because I'm guessing some of these could potentially be starting decks per player, so there's going to be some duplication at the start. Maybe they change as you go along, who knows. There's a Tyrant's Reign. Actually, you know what, the more I go through this one, the more I'm getting excited to really do this one on the channel. And I think this one might be one that creeps up high on the list. So if you guys are actually interested in seeing this one at some point in the near future, let me know in the comments below. It's always good to get feedback from you guys as to which ones you are most excited about, seeing. And that definitely has an impact as to whether or not I choose to go ahead and do that. But this is one that I think really does have some interesting and unique things going on for it. And who knows, it might be quite a blast to do on camera. So again, very happy with all the cards. There's quite a bit of these standard cards, enough that I'm having a tough time holding on to them all, but I'm not having any issues reading anything. The icons are clear. The artwork is a good size. It's not overtaking the cards. Some of them are larger than others. Of course, some of the cards mean different things. They're not all the same. But that is the deck of standard cards on this side of the box. Now, these are some beautiful cards. Like, they're fantastic looking. The quality seems great, too. Got a nice sheen to them and everything. Oh man, this is going to be really interesting. So this is like, during a challenge, if at least one of your runes shows a result of this or this, you gain that. And again, I don't know what that is just yet, but this is how the gameplay is going to be going on. You'll be going through different events, casting your runes, and trying to basically succeed at these events. But there are so many of them, and there's so many amazing looking pieces of art in here too. Like, I actually didn't realize that the focus on these cards would be artwork, because I guess when you're casting runes and it's based on the icons you get on those runes, the gameplay flows, and these are more just like pulling you into the immersion factor of the game. So that's really, really good. I like it a lot. The artwork has a serious tone, but also kind of a neutral tone as well. So it's not, it doesn't seem like it's more of like a comedic kind of vibe to it at all. Certainly it's more serious. But I go through this, and I really, honestly, when I'm going through these things, I get like a Game of Thrones-ish vibe from this. But of course, it's not that, but it has feelings of that as I go through it at times. But it's really well done. Like, it's really nice. So I was not expecting this game to look as good as it does. I really didn't know what to expect. I'd seen some pictures and knew it was going to be nice, but going through these cards now, I'm thoroughly impressed, and looking like the immersion factor on this one's going to be quite high. Okay, so it's time to go through stack number 2, and again, I have no idea if this is like a story progression type thing, or if it's more just like things get more difficult as you go along through the game. But what I'm really interested to see, now that I know that the artwork is stellar and I'm on board with what I'm seeing here in terms of it and its look, is I'm really, really hoping that the gameplay matches or exceeds the look of this thing, because the look of the game is incredible. I really just hope this whole casting of runes thing is something that's really interesting and different and kind of works essentially as a mechanic. Again, rolling dice and casting runes have a similar vibe going for them, but of course when you're casting runes you only have two sides. So there's obviously a difference there in how many runes you're casting and all that kind of stuff I'll have to kind of dive into and figure out. There's probably a balance of risk reward and trying to figure out which runes to cast versus other ones and what's the positive and negative effects. So anyway, really, really cool. And can't wait to see how this thing really pans out. But I have heard good things, so I've got high hopes here that this one's going to be something special. So that is going to be the second deck. And now we move into the third and final deck. This is the last thing in the box, of course, unless there's something hiding under the insert that I'm not seeing. I expect you guys to see a lot more great artwork throughout, as we've seen through the first two decks. A couple things I've noticed is the icon up here in the top corner is sometimes there and then sometimes changes completely, and then other times is completely removed and isn't even there at all. So I'll have to learn more about what those icons mean, not only but the abilities at the bottom. The other thing I'm noticing is a lot of these cards in the third deck say at the end of the game, which again leads into my belief that this is obviously going to be, it's a story-based game, it's a progression as you go on an adventure. So really these this deck number 3 is all about kind of maybe gaining those particular, or at least this deck right here that I'm holding, which is a part of this third deck, is all focused on getting end game, bonuses of some type. And then you got other ones here that don't have an end game effect. So, there's games like that out there where if you find those cards that give you those nice bonuses, you can put you over the edge. You've got what looks to be, these might be the things you can go up against in order to succeed in taking them down to gain progression points and stuff. They look absolutely epic from every angle. They make you feel like you're actually quite the hero, taking down whatever foe, oh my gosh, whatever foe kind of comes your way, to slay the dragon. Like, look at the artwork is so good. I can't stop oohing and awing about it. It's hard to ignore it because it's really cool. Every other card is just like, makes you want to stop and just stare at it. So I do apologize for that. Sometimes the artwork does throw me for a loop, and I like to enjoy it. But that's the purpose of an unboxing, is to show how the components look, how the art looks, what you expect to find inside the box. And I think that's what we accomplished here. And hopefully this gives you a good idea as to what you can expect if you pick up Call to Adventure, at least in terms of components, what kind of cards you're going to get, the artwork style. This might be up your alley just from a looks perspective, and really now it comes down to, is the gameplay there? Because things can look great, but if the gameplay doesn't back it up, doesn't carry much weight, and doesn't hold for a long period of time. So I'm really interested to see how this casting of runes system works with these cards, and how the progression feels, and how the gameplay flows. So again, let me know in the comments below if you want to see this one played on the channel, and this one could end up creeping its way quite high into the list. So thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, keep on rolling solo.